Well, with the Boston Celtics winning the 2024 championship and planning to raise banner 18 on opening night, we've just had our 6th newest championship in the last 6 years. This level of parity in the NBA is completely unmatched. Not even in the 70s was it like this, the decade that's infamous for its known dynasties. They still had repeat championships. A team has yet to repeat since the 2018 Warriors, and in the 20s decade so far, there hasn't been a team to even win a second championship. This level of parity makes this upcoming season even more exciting. So many teams have made massive offseason moves. Some teams have regressed, or some have even just stayed the same. The talent in the league has never been this deep or this high. The 24 to 25 NBA season will be one for the ages, and I think I have 10 pretty bold predictions for what will happen in the upcoming season. Who will fall? Who will rise? Who will win it all? What will stay the same? And I think I have the answers. There have been 2 players in NBA history to ever average a triple-double for a full season. Those players being Oscar Robertson in his 61-62 campaign, and Russell Westbrook did it 4 times. So many all-time greats have really come close, but have yet to reach this legendary mark. But this year, I think there will be a player who breaks that dry spell, and that player happens to be Russell's new teammate, Nikola Jokic. Now I know if you know me in real life, you probably audibly groaned, but he's giving me no reason not to believe that. He's already gotten dangerously close to his average before. In his championship year, he put up stats like 24 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. He was literally 0.2 assists away from it. I believe with KCP leaving the summer, that the 2-guard spot is empty, leaving it open to potentially 3 guys on the roster: Brown, Strother, and Watson. And this empty 2-guard spot gives me every reason to believe that Jokic will use his wizardry to elevate and develop these young guys by giving them the rock more. There's no better floor raiser in league history to develop these young guys. Add that in with Michael Porter Jr.'s development, I think Jokic will claim that triple-double average. I'm going to take this take even further, because I think history is going to be made this year, as I believe that not only will Jokic average a triple-double, his best friend Luka doncic will as well. Last year, Luka averaged a damn near 34-point triple-double, with a stat line of 34 points, 9.2 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. The reason I believe Luka will average a triple-double like Jokic is for the exact opposite reason. Where Jokic's roster got worse and he'll have to develop the young guys, Luka's roster only got better, adding arguably the second greatest shooter of all time in Klay Thompson to the Mavericks. With his extra firepower, Luka won't have to shoot the ball 23 times a game like he did last season. He can pass it to Klay or Kai for a 3. He can use Gafford and Lively as lob threats, and with Klay now on the roster, Luka will have more rebounding control. So yeah, I really do believe that this season we will have 2 people claim the elusive triple-double. But will I think either of them win the MVP? No. As much as I'd love to give Luka his first MVP and Jokic to win his 4th, which would really help me push my agendas even further, even though he should already have 4, but he was robbed in 2023 and should have won 4 straight. But you wait your turn. Oh, you wait your turn. We'll get to you real soon. Anyway, neither of these white boys will win the neither of these white boys will win the MVP. The 2024-2025 league MVP will go to my king, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm pretty confident that Shai will lead the Thunder to by far and away the best record in the league. He's also just an amazing player, top 5 minimum. The Thunder have somehow only gotten better this season, which we'll get into later. Shai somehow came in second in last year's MVP voting when Luka was putting up these kinds of goofy numbers, as he led the OKC Thunder to the youngest first seed in NBA history. He's the model of consistency in the league, getting 31 every night no matter the circumstances. The NBA MVP is notorious for going to the best player on the team with the best record, rather than the actual most valuable player that year. So the Oklahoma City Thunder will somehow take another massive leap this year. So which rookie will take that leap coming into the league and win Rookie of the Year? It's Zach Edey. Zachary Edey is going to win Rookie of the Year, and it won't be close. Zachary Shai, first overall pick, doesn't matter. His leader called him a role player. Alex Sarr, who's a big man, doesn't know how to use his size and focuses too much on perimeter shooting, which leads to unexpected results. Reed Sheppard, I actually really like Reed Sheppard. He's pretty good, but Houston has too many guards on their plate, so I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time. Buzelis is also really nice, but he's not Zachary Edey. Watching this man play at Purdue made me a huge fan of his game. His presence alone turns the Grizzlies into one of the deadliest starting fives in all of basketball. Now that he's on the roster, 2023 DPOY Jaren Jackson Jr. can play his more traditional 4 spot, and if his team isn't historically injury prone again, they'll help make some noise in the West. I'm so all in on this 7'4" Canadian, I'll be buying his jersey. But while Zach Edey's up and coming in the league, another up and comer I'm putting my faith into this year is the Orlando Magic. This isn't so much as a bold opinion because the star of the show, Paolo Banchero, said it himself, but I do believe that this year's Magic has a really high ceiling and the opportunity to be a sneaky top 4 seed in the East Conference. If you look at the playoff teams of the Eastern Conference, the difference in seeding between the Knicks and the Heat is literally 4 wins. In the East, it really is the Celtics and everyone else. And because of this, the Orlando Magic have a real opportunity to make some noise in the East. You have a superstar blooming in front of us in Paolo Banchero. Franz Wagner with all-star potential just needs to get his shot back. Jonathan Isaac, who's back and had gained a bunch of weight over the summer, and add one of the best perimeter 3-and-D guys in the league in KCP. Plus, you have 2 teams who are projected to be really high seeded in the East, who I don't really have faith in. I think this team has real potential to be a higher seed than most people predict them to be, and I think they could even have potential to make a deep postseason run. I'm going to be buying a lot of Magic stock this year, but a team I don't know whether to invest my stock into or take it out is this year's Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are by far the most confusing team in the league this year. The Lakers somehow are the only team in the NBA who have 2 top 10 players in the league on the exact same roster, and still very few people actually have faith in them. Maybe because this guy exists, but regardless of that, they're extremely confusing because on paper this team is supposed to be great. You have LeBron and Anthony Davis on the same roster. You're supposed to be good, right? But after the 2020 championship, it's just been disappointment after disappointment. They continue to let LeBron run the circus in LA. Overreacting to a first-round exit in 2021 made LeBron overreact and blow up a championship-level team, similar to what he did in Cleveland in 2017. This past summer, he forces LA to draft his son in the draft and hired his wine-sipping podcast buddy to be the new head coach for the Lakers. Because of all of these goofy adjustments, it's hard to look at the Lakers like a real title contender basketball team and more like a toy for LeBron to play with to make the last years of his career go how he wants it to go. But I really do believe that the Lakers have a chance to make a deep postseason run. Like I said, the team has 2 top 10 players in the league. No other team has that. Some people forget that this team was 1 round away from the finals in 2023 because they were absolutely dismantled by Denver. What most people overlook about the Lakers is that they stayed the same. Many people actually use that as a negative for the team when it could actually be an advantage. This is essentially the same roster from the 2023 Western Conference Finals run. This team, even with Darvin Ham's awful rotations, putting 3 guys who essentially do this exact same thing on the basketball court together, and being unable to close out close games, this team ran all the way to the conference finals. The Lakers have a sense of continuity that teams in the West don't have. The Nuggets have to figure out who will fill the 2 spot, and we need our younger guys to develop and make an impact on the rotations. The Timberwolves just lost Karl Anthony Towns and need to figure out how to space the floor with Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert in the same rotation. The Mavs have essentially 3 guards in the same starting 5. The Grizzlies haven't played real basketball in almost 2 years. The Phoenix Suns are always incompetent. Is Zion going to be healthy? I could go on and on. There's a lot of teams in the West that need to work out the kinks and answer some important questions. But the Lakers, they essentially have the exact same 15 players. The only change is the head coach, JJ Redick. JJ Redick, LeBron's podcast buddy, he has absolutely 0 coaching experience, but he has something that Darvin Ham doesn't. He's not an idiot. On top of all of this, the Lakers probably got the best deal in the draft in Dalton Knecht at 18, who somehow fell to them and is definitely going to help out their main issue in 3-point shooting. As much as I want to clown the Lakers for letting themselves the most storied, legendary franchise in all of sports history, letting LeBron run the show and play with it like it's a toy, I do unironically believe that JJ Redick could take this roster that has already made it to the West Finals not too long ago and take them even further. Or this could blow up in LeBron's face like the 2018 Cavs, and that's what I think makes the Lakers completely unpredictable this year. Unlike the Lakers, one team that's completely predictable and I'm sure is not going to work out this year is the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. I have 0 faith in this team, except Maxey. I love you, Maxey. This summer, we all witnessed Joel Embiid commit highway robbery against the Sixers as he signed a 3-year, $192 million extension, and that extension puts him in the $500 million club. The now 30-year-old Flout King has never made it out of the second round of the playoffs or has ever played more than 68 games in his entire 11-year career. Look, I know my hatred of this dude is mostly fueled by the stolen 2023 MVP award that belonged to the real best player that season, and he proved it by winning the championship, while JoJo was bounced in the second round by the Celtics. Embiid and his Sixers blew a 3-2 lead against the Celtics in a closeout Game 6, where his 76ers led the fourth quarter by 2 points, and only managed to score 13 points in the entire quarter, and they were forced into a Game 7 in Boston, where they would get absolutely stomped out, where Embiid scored 15 points on 5 of 18 shooting that night. That was supposed to be the league MVP that year. I understand I'm not being fair to a guy with probably worse luck than Chris Paul. He's been getting injuries most people have literally never heard of up until this point. And I understand I'm being unfair, because when he is healthy, even I can't deny he's genuinely amazing. But Embiid's shown me nothing to actively have faith in him, as he's one of the biggest playoff droppers in the league history. At the end of this contract, when Joel gets his money, he'll be the 4th highest player in NBA history, putting him in the exclusive $500 million club, where LeBron James is first, well, because he played 22 seasons, Steph Curry behind him, and third would be Kevin Durant. The 3 faces of the 2010th. Being in this exclusive club isn't notable for any of them, because they've all done their jobs and actually winning something, 2 of them undoubtedly being in the top 10 greatest players of all time, and Kevin Durant sitting in the 20 to 15 range. But you know who else is sitting in that $500 million club that I forgot to mention? If you've been following closely, then you'll know that player is Paul George. Yeah, that's right, among these all-time greats, in the upper echelon of NBA wealth. In the bubble, playoff P turned into pandemic P, shooting the lights out on the backboard, blowing a 3-1 series lead to, once again, Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. See? I don't even mean to be biased and bring him up. He's just been everywhere these last 4 years. Anyway, after being pushed to a Game 7 by the Nuggets, Pandemic P accumulated 10 points and shot a laughable 4 of 16 from the field. You see where I'm going with this? You get 2 of the ugliest playoff chokers in league history who are somehow both in the upper echelon of NBA wealth, and both of them are extremely injury prone. Yeah, it's safe to say Paul George and his aging body is injury prone at this point. Embiid being on a whole nother level. PG in his 14-year NBA career has yet to sniff a finals appearance, and his new teammate Joel Embiid, who has yet to make the second round of the postseason, being the only MVP in NBA history to never make it out of the second round. Add on top of that the Sixers, who also threw Maxey a fat bag this summer, who deserves it. I love you, Maxey. The Sixers have one of the most expensive rosters in all of basketball, and because of their spending habits, the Sixers bench is depleted, with almost no talent coming off of it. Look, I'm sorry I'm being extremely negative about this team. I'm not normally a negative guy. I can count on one hand the number of players I actually hate, but I'm just trying to be realistic. I do not believe in this year's Sixers whatsoever. There is no doubt in my mind that this team will go down in NBA history as another big failed 3. Anyway, all this negativity has got me feeling sick to my stomach. Let's get extremely bold, but positive. I've already mentioned that the league MVP is going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I'm going all in, and I'm ready to go even bigger. This year's Oklahoma City Thunder team will be the best team since the Kevin Durant and Golden State Warriors. I say that with 100% confidence. I'm ready for any outcome. I'm ready for this to blow up in my face and bite me in the ass, but I know they won't disappoint me and they'll live up to my expectations. This team took an insane leap last year, exceeding all expectations, and tied the defending champion Nuggets for the first seed, when most of their players aren't even out of their 20s. This team has a top 5 player and future league MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 2 all-star caliber co-stars in Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams, all defensive talent Lou Dort, insane bench depth with players like Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe. With this roster, they pushed the Western Conference champion Dallas Mavericks to 6 games, only losing to free throws. The main issue in that series for the Thunder was rebounding, as a skinny 7-foot Abraham Lincoln couldn't compete for boards with Gafford and Lively, and Karl Malone, who's completely unplayable in the playoffs. And Sam Presti, this actual basketball genius, the same man who drafted 3 straight MVPs, traded for a top 5 player and a treasure trove of picks. And this summer, he literally robbed the Bulls, trading Josh Giddey for a 1-for-1 swap for the greatest Chicago Bull of all time. And then he plugged the rebounding hole by adding Isaiah Hartenstein from the Knicks, one of the best rebounding and playmaking bigs in the league. This team is so unbelievably stacked, it's unfair. On top of this loaded roster, it's being coached by one of the smartest minds in the league right now in Mark Dagnall. This team has unlimited lineup potential. Do they need to play against a big team like the Nuggets? Just play Hartenstein and Chet on the same floor. Do they need to play against a fast-paced team like the Pacers? Then they just play a small, fast roster with Shai, J-Dub, Caruso, Joe, Dort, and Chet and push the tempo in transition. But what if a disaster strikes and LeBron breaks Chet's foot again? Oh no, whatever will they do? Oh yeah, just play a championship level 5 and Isaiah Hartenstein on the floor. We're entering the Oklahoma City Thunder era of the NBA. Get on the bandwagon while you still can and enjoy it before they inevitably destroy your favorite team. But even as high as I am on this team for reasons I'll get into later, I don't think that this is their year, and that will lead them to use their treasure trove of picks on a massive trade on a declining team that's in for desperate need for assets. And there's no better team in the league for Sam Presti to manipulate than the Milwaukee Bucks will fail once again this year. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get realistic again. I don't have any faith in the Bucks this year. I'm not as grim as I am with the Sixers, but I have very little hope in this team. I'm not completely out on Milwaukee because they still have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a minimum top 3 player and in the battle with Luka for the second spot. And yeah, they still have Damian Lillard. If Dame remembers how to play basketball again and returns to Portland Dame even just a little bit, him and Giannis can become the Shaq and Kobe everyone thought they would be before disappointing all of us. But with this roster, I really do believe it's championship or bust. And when I mean bust, I mean it's you win a championship or the whole team gets blown up. Since the 2021 championship, the Bucks have been disappointing year in and year out. In 2022, they were bounced by Boston in the semis because Giannis' co-star Chris Middleton was injured. In 2023, they were undoubtedly by far and away the best team in the East, and they were projected to play against Denver in the finals. In the first round, they played against the 8th seeded Miami Heat and were literally projected to sweep them. Instead, Giannis got injured, missing most of Game 1, all of 2 and 3, and combined this with playoff Jimmy, a poor shooting performance from Jrue Holiday because he was forced to be the primary scorer. That resulted in the Bucks trading Jrue to Portland for Dame to keep Giannis happy. And while Jrue is thriving on the Celtics, the Bucks are super iffy. The Giannis and Dame experiment was just disappointing. Giannis was injured before the playoffs, so they were dusted in 6 games by Indiana, who would go on to make the conference finals. That's 3 straight years where the Bucks have struggled to do anything since the championship in 2021 because of injuries, and it isn't getting any better. In fact, it's only gotten worse. Their core 4 players are only getting older. Hell, Chris Middleton had 2 surgeries on both ankles this summer. On top of that, this team is completely out of assets. I don't understand how I've barely seen anyone cover the severity of the situation in Milwaukee, because if the Bucks don't make a deep run this year, I'm almost certain it's going to change the dynamic of the entire league. Like I said earlier, what the Bucks need is assets and young talent to help their old-ass roster, and there's no better team in the league to make a deal with than the OKC Thunder. This is exactly the kind of blockbuster trade the Thunder have been sitting on all of these picks for. If the Bucks fail to secure a final appearance or a deep playoff run this year, I'm certain the top 4 players in the league will all be in the West. 2 of them could even be on the same team. But like I said, I'm not all out on the Bucks this year. I'm never going to count out a team with a top 3 player on it, especially if Damian Lillard remembers how to play basketball. Yeah, all hope is gone for the Bucks. I'm sorry, just look at this coaching duo. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this, Milwaukee. This video is getting extremely long already, so I'll speed number 9 up. These are my Eastern Conference standings with predictions and explanations, and these are my Western Conference standings with also explanations. This prediction leads me to what I've been alluding to this entire video. Who will win the 2025 NBA Championship? Who will take home the Larry O'Brien bask in victory and bring glory to their city, etching their names into history? Well, I know it's irresponsible and just outright stupid to try and predict an entire playoff bracket before the season even starts, but hey, it's fun. With the 1st and 8th seeds, I have the Thunder making quick work of the 8th seeded Kings. In the East, the Celtics destroying the Hawks. For the 4th and 5th seeds, I think the Wolves beat the Grizzlies in a tough series. In the East, I have Orlando beating a Sixers team that probably has an injured Embiid and or Paul George, if not both of them injured. For the 3rd and the 6th seed, the Dallas Mavericks will play against the Suns in a much tougher series than they gave the Wolves, although I still think Phoenix goes down in 6. In the East, I have the Bucks going up against the Cavs, and I think if Giannis is healthy, for which I hope he is, Milwaukee takes it in 6. For the 2nd and 7th seeds in the West, I have Denver once again making quick work of the Lakers. As much as I think JJ Redick could elevate the Lakers, I don't think his coaching is enough to stop this. In the East, I have the Knicks going against the Pacers, and the Knicks get their get back from the previous year where they were literally all injured, taking the Pacers out in 6. In the second round of the playoffs, The OKC Thunder will knock off the Minnesota Timberwolves because of the additions like Hartenstein. That'll allow them to go 7-footer for 7-footer with the Timberwolves, and the GOAT being able to slow down Edwards, a 7-game series. For the East, I think Boston makes quick work of the Magic in 5. The Magic will be back with a vengeance though. Then I think Luka and Jokic will finally meet in the postseason, and Gafford and Lively, as much as they try, won't be able to handle Jokic. I think Denver wins in 7. In the East, the Knicks and Bucks meet, and with the addition of Karl-Anthony Towns, hopefully Mitchell Robinson will be somewhat healthy and can get some minutes. The Knicks can let Giannis get his, while his old injury-prone roster around him doesn't help the freak at all. Knicks win it in 6, and I think Giannis finally departs from Milwaukee in the following summer. The conference finals are set. In the West, like I said, I don't believe it's OKC's time just yet. You can call me biased all you want. I'm supposed to believe the best player in the world, a top 15 player of all time at minimum, and Nikola Jokic is supposed to never win a championship again just because they lost 2 role players, as much as I miss them. That's ridiculous. They're actually going to be better this year than they were last year. They also added additions for off-the-bench help in Dario Saric, who will be replacing Jokic, and Russell Westbrook, who will be in the non-Jamal Murray and Jokic minutes. He'll have the bench running and getting shooters like Julian and Porter open. I've said in this video before how passionate I am about the Thunder. Their time will come, but this skinny ass dude is not guarding Jokic. Nuggets win in 6. In the East, Boston and New York will go head to head in a tough series. The wing defenders in New York and OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges will put the clamps down on Brown and JT. I don't think Porzingis can guard Cat on the perimeter, if he even plays, knowing him. The X factor in the series will be Drew Holiday. We've seen playoff Brunson where he just goes out and scores 40 every night. Drew isn't in Milwaukee anymore. He doesn't need to be the main scoring option at all. So can he put all of his efforts into defense, and can he slow Jaylen down? We'll have to see, but right now, I don't think he can. I believe the Knicks win in a tough 7-game series and take down the dominant defending champs Celtics. So the NBA finals are set, Denver versus New York. I think this will be the best finals this decade so far. It'll be a competitive, tough series, unlike some others. Easily the most important match this final will be Jokic versus Cat. Cat was the only person playing decent defense on Jokic in the Minnesota series last year, because Jokic was doing this to Rudy. But in New York, he doesn't have 2 other 7-footers with him to pack the paint to guard Jokic. Karl-Anthony Towns has played in 30 playoff games in his career. 10 of them, he has 5 or more fouls. If you add games where he has 3 or more fouls, Cat has 23 games with 3 or more fouls. He'll constantly be in foul trouble against Jokic, being forced to be taken out of the game for long stretches of time. And with the Knicks losing Hartenstein, it'll force injury-prone Mitchell Robinson to attempt to guard Jokic if he's even playing. And because of this, I think the Nuggets take it in 6, becoming the first team this decade to win a second championship. Well, those are my predictions for this upcoming season. But hey, you miss 100% of the shot you don't take, right? I also think by the end of the season, Wemby's going to be pushing top 5. Hi. I'm just kind of freestyling on here, so if you watch this whole thing, thank you. I really appreciate it. And you can, if you don't want to hear me ramble about other stuff, you can leave. But I really do appreciate you staying, even if you decide to leave right now. But for those who stay, I owe you a big apology. The elephant the elephant in the room is that I haven't uploaded it in about 2 months, something like that. Well, the reason is there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I try to tell myself I'm swamped with work, I'm doing stuff, but I never had my priorities straight. And when I saw how proud I was of that Allen Iverson video, it's sitting at like 500 something right now. When I saw the number, I was like, damn, I've never had anything like this. And seeing that number, I got comfortable. I got lazy. So I stopped doing what I wanted to do. But through a lot of self-reflection lately and just conscious efforts to improve things in my life and improve myself and working harder, I've realized that there are no more excuses and to take this thing head on. I've been working on a lot of areas of my life to put that, it's not philosophy, but put those things to use. And with that comes this channel, and I'm fully prepared to really do this thing. I'm gonna try to make good on this promise. I will try to upload a video at least once a week. It could be 1 minute, 5 minutes. I'm gonna get a video out once a week. But for the longer ones, knowing myself, it'll probably be 2. I will try my best for 1. You guys have to work with me. I know it's just me and my friends kind of watching this thing, but yeah, I really do appreciate every minute I get to talk about basketball, especially with like how outdated this could be. I hope I brought at least a glimmer of joy into your day. Maybe my takes are stupid because they're kind of outdated now, like the Warriors and stuff. But there will be future videos, like I'm saying. There will be more videos. And yeah, it's just the first of many in my full attempt to take this thing seriously. So you heard it here, you heard it here first, folks. I'm gonna try my best. I really will. Thank you all for listening. I really, really do appreciate it. Words can't even begin to describe like how grateful I am, and I won't let these opportunities go to waste. I promise. So yeah, I'll try to stick to a schedule. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves, guys.